Hi there, welcome to another episode of Vision Quest. My name is Ashley Appap, and if you're here for the first time, welcome. This is a podcast where I talk to people that I like about things that they like, and we have a really fun time together, just getting to know each other or getting to know each other more, and creating a space for people to be exactly who they are with no judgment and authenticity. And if you're coming back, thank you so much for being here and returning. I've missed you. It's been a whole week. What have you been doing? Let me know. You can't actually respond with like the medium that you're consuming this on. So if you say it out loud, hopefully like somehow I'll hear it. But if you could verbalize it through some kind of like visual communication, that would help. So thank you in advance for doing that. And I look forward to hearing how you've been. I am very excited to introduce my guest today. We have Amanda Dux on. Amanda, how are you?
I am very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm well. I'm so excited to talk to you. So we've known each other for a while, but kind of peripherally. So through our mutual friend Ali Sheehan, shout out to her. And we haven't really, I think we've hung out literally once, maybe twice, maybe at her birthday parties or something.
I have a old vlog on my YouTube channel that you're in, which is like years old, years and years. And when we were talking about recording this podcast, I was like, I literally think I have the day we met documented, which is kind of iconic in some way.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I will have that linked if you're watching this on YouTube down below. If you're streaming this, go to the YouTube episode and you'll find it there if you want to watch it. That's amazing. Yeah, we went to like that was one of the best days. I had so much fun that day. I remember
it was such a nice day.
We drove to Mount Martha, which is like a beach peninsula area outside of Melbourne. And I remember I was like, my back was really sore that day, and you were driving and you were so kind and you kept being like, should we stop? Like, do we need to stop? Are you doing all right? And everyone was just so nice, and we swam and the water was so beautiful, and you had a GoPro and we were taking photos of us all swimming under the water. And I had never even I didn't understand what a GoPro was, which is questionable because at that time I worked in a surf shop. So I should have known. So that proves how good of like a retail person I was. But it was such a fun day. So thank you for a great first impression.
Oh, thank you for a great first impression.
Oh, anytime. But yeah, so since kind of, what have you been doing with yourself since we met then, you know?
Oh, well, since then I have moved from Melbourne to the Gold Coast. So I've been on the Gold Coast for almost 3 years now, which has absolutely flown. And I've also somehow made my way out of the hospitality game and into the doing YouTube full-time game.
Congratulations.
Thank you, which is very exciting to be able to work for myself and just create content for a living is something I always dreamed of doing and never thought was going to be a reality. And now that it is a reality, I'm like, okay, this is really, really awesome. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing and just enjoying and settling into the lifestyle and working on myself and all of that good stuff.
Oh, beautiful. That's so exciting. I love the idea of I have friends that are in kind of all different creative realms, and when someone tells me I'm just working on something and they say, they're doing work, I'm like, oh, is that the grind, or is it exciting things you want to do? And when someone tells me that it's both, I'm like, oh my God, I forgot that people can make money doing what they actually want to be doing, because I feel so many people often whether it's hospitality or retail or just working in some kind of other field that isn't what they want to be doing. So it's very encouraging and exciting when someone has really worked hard and is succeeding at that. So congratulations again.
Thank you so much.
I just realized I had a seed in my teeth and I was just yeah. So I have some questions that I'm going to be asking you today. Are you ready?
I think I'm ready. We'll see how I go.
Okay. There's no pass or fail. Every answer will be correct. So unless you say something really horrible that's hurtful to someone else, then that's a fail. But
Okay.
I don't think you're going to do that. I mean...
No, I think I should be okay.
Okay, good. Yeah. Imagine if now you just like pulled the rug out under me and were like, you know what? I'm going to go with that. Let's just be... let's just be a trash bag of a human being.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first question is, what did you want to be when you grew up, and why do you think that is?
Interesting. I think the only thing I remember wanting to be was a hairdresser. When I was like 8 years old, I have this like vivid memory of my dad doing like a VCR recording of me on my 8th birthday and asking all me and my friends what we wanted to be when we grew up. And I said hairdresser, which I have no idea why I would even want to do that, because it's just so off-brand for me. I'm like not a super feminine type of person, I would suppose. Like I don't really have a keen interest in the beauty industry in any capacity, and I have absolutely no idea why I thought that was something that I would want to do. As time went on, through my like teenage years and stuff, I like wanted to be an actress, and then I wanted to be a screenwriter, and I did like lots of acting classes, and I did a bit of independent filmmaking. But I think that is a bit more on brand, in line with what I am doing now, and makes a lot more sense than the whole hairdresser idea.
Well, I feel like there's aspects of it that would make sense in terms of what you're doing now. Like you're talking to people. I feel like all the aspects of it except for cutting hair actually, you know, makes sense. Like you're working with others.
Creativity.
You're kind of like getting to know people, letting them know a little bit about your life. So 8-year-old you, she knew what was going on. Just kind of was a roundabout way of knowing what she wanted, you know?
Yeah.
Don't worry. When I was little, I wanted to be a spy. So that's
interesting.
It doesn't make any sense at all. It doesn't make any sense.
I wonder if you like watched like Spy Kids or something and suddenly decided that's what you wanted to do.
That's exactly what I did. And my parents get so mad whenever I bring up Spy Kids, because we saw, we were in the US on a holiday and we were going to the movies, and the choice was between Spy Kids or the Pokemon movie. And my sister and I were obsessed with Pokemon when we were little. So we were like, the Pokemon movie. And then I fell asleep in it. And then when we finally saw Spy Kids, I was like, this is the best movie I've ever seen. Like, why is it taking me this long to see it? And I was like such a little brat. I was like, why didn't we watch this already? And they were like, we tried to convince you to watch it. You wanted to fall asleep to Pokemon. So there you go. Okay, question 2 is, what is your favorite thing about yourself?
I would say probably my favorite thing about myself is my optimism, I would say. I feel like I've always kind of been a relatively optimistic person, but especially in the past few years, as I've sort of introduced a gratitude practice into my life and things like that, I tend to see the good in people and the good in situations, and it's something that comes really naturally to me, which is something that I'm really grateful for. And probably as well as that, I'm going to say 2 favorite things. I'm so sorry.
Amazing.
But
no, love
probably
that.
Probably as well as that, I really like the fact that I'm someone who's really emotionally available, and I have the ability to express my emotions really easily, because again, it's something that's always come naturally to me. I've always been someone who can cry really easily and talk about how I'm feeling really easily, and again, in the past few years, I've realized that that's not the same for everyone. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people have expressed almost envy of the fact that I have the ability to express things so openly. And that's just something that I'm really grateful for, and I really enjoy about myself, because I feel like it allows me to continue to like grow and become a better person the more I express how I'm feeling.
Definitely. Oh my God. I feel like the same thing in the last few years. I don't know if it's maybe our age or like having similar experiences of like moving somewhere else and starting kind of again. I think it makes you reevaluate like your values and also just like relearn things about yourself. But I felt the exact same way. I didn't understand that there are a lot of people that not only don't like feel or don't allow themselves to fully just like feel whatever they're feeling, but there are a lot of people who don't even understand what they're feeling. And that like blew my mind, because I feel like so much of like who I am is based around being like, oh, okay, well, let's check in with how I'm feeling, and that will help me like guide myself through this situation. So I empathize with that. All right. Next question is, okay. What is your favorite feeling? And this can be physical or emotional. So
this is the easiest question in the world.
Ooh,
my favorite feeling is diving under a wave in the ocean. That is the best feeling. It's like on par with falling in love, is diving under a wave in the ocean. And then when it's one of those really, really beautiful sunny days and the water is crystal clear blue and it's slightly crisp but not too crisp, and you dive under and you just feel, I can't even describe the feeling that it gives me, but it's just incredible and like so relaxing and so therapeutic and yeah, so good for the soul.
Oh my God. I haven't done that in so long. That's me. I feel like leading up to the winter that we just had, which would have been the summer in the US, I was so excited. I was like, this is going to be the summer that I like really take advantage of like being near the beach. And I mean, even though the beaches where I was are nowhere near as good as a lot of the beaches we have here. That's one thing. I'm gonna take a leaf out of your book and be optimistic about it and not be like, ugh. And that's one thing I can be excited for this coming summer.
Oh, totally. Instead. Yeah. Think about all the trips to Mount Martha you can do.
Oh my God. It's so funny. At the beginning of this year, I was with Ali and we were with someone else and we wanted to go to Mount Martha. And I think we typed in, like there might be two or there was something that we typed in wrong. And it took us to this spot on that peninsula that was like not at all where we were trying to go. And we got there and it was like a little concave of water that was not the beach. It was like the beach water, but it felt more like a creek and didn't have any waves and it was just still. And we were like, all right, well, I guess this is Mount Martha 2.0. But it was still a really, really great day. So any day at the beach is great. All right. So the next question is, what is your happy place or where is your happy place?
Oh, interesting. I would say, hate to repeat myself, but happy place is definitely by or in the ocean. And I think just being in nature in any capacity, especially lately when I've been working really hard and spending a lot of time inside, I've really grown a greater appreciation for the ability to just be outside and sit and be in nature and go for hikes and things like this. Like, I think, yeah, if I was going to have a happy place in any capacity, it would just be outside in the quiet, somewhere where I can just sit and listen to nature, I think is the best way to describe it.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Do you think, okay, I feel like a lot of people would ask you, what are your favorite spots like that in Queensland? But having been from Melbourne and then going to Queensland, what are the things like nature-wise that you really appreciate about Melbourne? And when you come here, you're kind of like, oh, I'm really glad that I know about this thing or take advantage of this place.
Something that I really, really love, and I think I took advantage of being so close to, is the Great Ocean Road in Melbourne, because it's really not that far, especially from where I lived when I lived in Melbourne. It really wasn't that far at all, and it's like literally one of the most beautiful stretches of road and ocean in general that you can see, and it has some of the best surf, and there's just so much about it to appreciate and love, which is so awesome. And I think as well, like, now that I live, even though I live in a city, it's not a city like Melbourne. Areas like the inner city, like garden areas, like on South Bank and like Alexandra Gardens, I think it's called, are just things that you don't get when you're living in a smaller city. And so things like that are something I definitely appreciate. I even went up to Brisbane recently for the day and they had things like that. And I was like, this is so beautiful. It's a different type of beautiful, but it's still incredible.
Yeah, botanical gardens, but little gardens that make kind of the city disappear, I would say my favorite thing about Melbourne too. Like Treasury Gardens and Fitzroy Gardens are probably my favorite.
Oh yeah.
Beautiful.
So nice.
All right, so the next question is, Okay. I love this question. What's your favorite song to cry to?
Oh, All Too Well, Taylor Swift. No doubt. No doubt in my mind that is the best song to cry to. And the thing about this song is it's so timeless. Like, I can remember crying to it when I was 18 years old about a guy that I was involved with at the time. And it's like, now today I still cry about it after over my last heartbreak. And it's like, how can I relate to this song across like a almost 10 year lifespan? I don't know, but it is just so perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. So your housemate and best friend Cara was on this podcast as well, and we just talked about Taylor Swift the whole time. And it's like reinvigorated. So like there's specific songs that me and my best friend, who is also, she's obsessed with Taylor Swift as much as you guys are. When we had like in tandem like crises with boys and stuff happening at the same time when we were teenagers, and there was like a playlist of Taylor Swift songs that we had on repeat just to get us through that time. And I've revisited it since talking to Cara, because I was like, oh my God, I need to like relive this. And it's just so good.
She has so many good songs. That's the best thing about her music, is even if it's written about an entirely different situation, it's always relatable music. And like some songs I listen to and I feel like they were written about my life. That's how accurate they feel. Mm-hmm. And it's like that they obviously weren't written about my life in any capacity, but that's how powerful her music is, I think.
Yeah. That's the connection I have to John Mayer and his music. Which also Cara has, which we discussed briefly as well. But like, he says he says things in particular ways that I'm like, how did you know? Like
yeah.
What are you are there cameras everywhere? Like, what are you doing? Sneaky. Okay. The next question is, who's someone you admire?
Oh, I think this is a really difficult question for me, because I feel like even though I would definitely look up to a lot of people, it's not like I have specific role models or anything like that. But I was recently talking to my friend about YouTubers that I really look up to, because I have been working towards doing YouTube full time for a few years, and there are just specific creators who, when you watch them, make you feel inspired to create. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what I really, really enjoy. And so the two YouTubers in particular, Casey Neistat and Tatiana Ringsby, mm-hmm. and both of them, their content isn't that complicated. It's just that they have their own unique style. And when I watch them, I instantly want to improve my content and really want to like be creative and try new things. And I think that as a creator, a lot of the time you can feel incredibly stagnant with what you're doing and feel super uninspired. And so, yeah, recently, even yesterday, I was just watching a whole bunch of Casey Neistat videos because I was feeling so stuck and still like, I don't know what content I want to create. And then as soon as I watched even an hour of his videos, I was like, yeah, I have that creativity back. And so I think if there was anyone that I like looked up to or admired, it would definitely be him and Tatiana, for sure.
And I would just argue, as someone who watches your videos, that's the kind of feeling of watching yours. It does feel very inspiring, and like you definitely have your own clear voice. And I think it comes from you just being yourself, which is so great. And I really appreciate it.
I really appreciate that.
Oh, you're so welcome, because it's genuinely, I look forward to just like hearing you talk about anything. Okay. And then the next question is, what's some weird kid stuff you used to do? So it can be anything. I feel like this question stumps some people.
I think I might have a good one.
Okay, good. Okay, go. I'll trust you.
I don't know if this classifies as like weird kid stuff, but I feel like it could. So I have been vegan for like 5 years now, but I've actually been vegetarian since I was really little. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the time, like my parents didn't really understand, because I was like so young, like, why do you want to be vegetarian so bad? And all of these things. And when I was little and I would go to birthday parties, I would take the pastry off the sausage rolls and eat it. And when people had party pies, I would take the lid off, scoop all the meat out, put it on a plate and just like eat the pastry, and it would have like remains of the meat. And sometimes I think about it and like I tell my friends like, oh, that's what I used to do when I was younger, because like I wasn't like vegetarian at this point because my parents weren't letting me, but I refused to eat it. So I would always be that kid at birthday parties like doing really weird shit with the food, and like getting, even when people had those like pigs in blanket things, like the hot dogs with the pastry, it's like I would do anything I could to avoid the meat.
I love that. That's so, I feel like in logically that's not weird at all, because it's like you were very clear of a value that you have and you're like, I don't want to do that, so I'm not going to do it. But I can imagine like how funny would that be to like the mother of whoever's birthday party it was. Like just watching this kid come to their house and like scoop meat out of a pie.
They like come back to like the table with all the food on it, and the sausage roll plate is just like all little chunks of meat sitting there instead of sausage rolls. I'm like leaving the meat for the other kids.
That's so funny. Imagine if they thought you were like putting it in a bag to take it home or something. Oh my God. Or you're like, sorry, I have like an intolerance, when really you're just like, no, I don't want to. Okay, so the next question and the final question is, do you think aliens are real?
Look, I'm going to say no.
Okay.
And the only reason I'm going to say no is because I have this like stance in life that if I'm not educated on something, or if I don't know, it's like, it's a no. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Some people are really good with like conspiracy theories and looking into things and blah, blah, blah. And for me personally, I'm like, oh my God, if I'm not educated on something and know the answers to everything, I cannot talk about it. Like,
I think that's a very good stance to have on like ignorance. I think that's a really good way to go with that. That's smart. It'll like stop you from like getting in muddy water with things. I'm just like, this is what I believe, and then people are like, really? So that's you're the first person to say no, can I say?
I thought that I would be the first person to say no. And that's the thing, I'm open-minded to it being a yes if anyone has any information they would like to share with me, but I know nothing about this kind of thing. So I'm like, that would be like me commenting on like rugby. Like, do you think rugby's a good sport? No idea. Never seen a rugby game in my life.
Yeah, me neither.
Cannot comment. I'm open to watching a rugby game if someone would like to educate me, but that's how I feel about aliens, how I feel about rugby.
I would just like to say, anyone out there, I'm not open to watching a rugby game, mainly just because I don't care about it. And if you love it, come on and talk about it. I want to hear you talk about it.
Oh my God, you should get someone who loves rugby.
I should. I would love to like, that's a thing. I love experiencing things through other people's experience, if that makes sense. But if you like try to get me to like go and sit and do something that doesn't feel good for me, honestly, most of the time I will do it because I'm a huge people pleaser, but like it will make me feel so uncomfortable to take part in anything that like my whole body doesn't want to be doing. So
totally.
But if you love rugby, get on here. Let's talk about it. Okay. That answer is great. That is a no that I will accept. I mean, I'll accept anything because that's the whole point of this thing. But I like that answer. That's a no that I like, which is
thank you.
Hard to accomplish. So thank you. And that is all of the questions. So
love that.
Now, my humble guest, it is your turn to kind of take over and let everyone know what we are going to be talking about today.
Well, today we're going to be talking about Survivor, the TV show. And here's the thing. Survivor is the most iconic TV show in history. It beats The OC.
Ooh.
It beats Gossip Girl. It beats The Bachelor. It beats so many things. It has been going for 40 seasons in the US. Like, Can you name me another show that has been going for 40 seasons? I don't think so.
I mean, like Bold and the Beautiful and stuff, but that's different. That's not even the same like realm.
Bold and the Beautiful been going for that long?
Surely. Wait, you know what? I'm going to Google it. How many seasons of Bold and Beautiful? I am my own fact checker. So I think they're currently on season 33, so less.
Here's the thing. Survivor, no one can beat it. Not even the Bold and the Beautiful can beat Survivor in the amount of seasons. And when we're talking about that, we're only talking about the US seasons. There's seasons all around the world, which is so iconic.
Okay, so how many of the seasons have you watched?
I've watched all 40 US seasons and I've watched all 4 Australian seasons.
Okay. What other countries is Survivor filming in?
I think it's in New Zealand. I think it's in Brazil. I really need to branch out. Oh, I think they do South Africa. Mm-hmm. There are quite a lot of seasons all around the world. I definitely need to branch out, but I'm just in this habit right now of repeatedly watching US seasons that I've already seen. And to some people it would be like, why would you rewatch a Survivor season when you already know who wins? And it's like, but that's not the point. Mm-hmm. The point of Survivor is like, when you know who wins, watching it back a second time, you learn so much more about everything when you're watching it back. And it's almost at the point now where when I watch a new Survivor season, I can already tell who's going to win based on the editing because I've seen how they edit winners.
That's amazing. Wow. Sorry, that's blown my mind. I'm like, I think that about, have you watched Unreal before?
No.
Okay, so if you like The Bachelor, and for anyone watching this, if you like The Bachelor and you haven't seen Unreal, I would recommend watching Unreal immediately. And if you like any reality TV, honestly, because the whole point of it is it's a fictional, like a scripted TV show, but it's from the perspective of a reality TV show producer. And the show she works on is called Everlasting, and it's meant to be like The Bachelor. And they like uncover all this stuff and they show what it's like behind the scenes and how so much of it is in editing and in like the way the producers manipulate the contestants.
Totally.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
But okay, that's very interesting. So what would you say, like, can you explain Survivor as if I've never seen or heard of it?
Yes, I definitely can. Okay. So, well, the first season of Survivor to the 40th season of Survivor, it's taken a whole journey. So the original premise of the show Survivor was to put between 18 and 20 people on an island in 2 to 3 different tribes, and they compete for reward and they compete for immunity. And basically they have to live with like nothing except what's on the island. They have to make fire themselves. They have to build a shelter themselves. And there's that whole survival aspect of the show. But then there's the survival aspect of the show as well of surviving and outlasting all of the other contestants that are on the show. So you need to be smart, you need to be social, you need to be physically fit, you need to be a strategist. There's just like so many different aspects of the game. And so I think when Survivor first started airing, it was to see how long people could survive on an island, like fending for themselves and only winning these rewards. But over time, it's become so much more than that now they don't even really show much of the survival stuff. It's mainly about the actual game that they're playing. And the way Survivor pretty much works is they vote someone out every episode, and unless you win immunity, which is when you win a challenge, you can be voted out. And it's all about getting people to align with you and getting people to, I guess, be on your side and not want to vote you out. But then you don't want to be too good of a player, because if you're too good of a player, people are going to vote you out because they can't beat you at the end. And the winner in the US season wins $1 million. And the winner is voted for by the contestants who have been voted out. So you really have to figure out a way to vote people out, but still have them respect you enough to vote for you to win $1 million. Okay. I just completely babbled on.
No. You explained that so perfectly, but in a way that I'm now why the have I not been watching Survivor?
I don't understand why anyone's not watching Survivor, because it's the most superior TV show ever.
Because I thought it was still the description that you gave me just now about the beginning. I thought it was literally still just people kind of having to fend for themselves and you know. And this is a classic growth moment for me where I shouldn't have been so judgmental of that. But, you know, it's really good that they changed things up, because I feel like that's probably why it's gone on for so long, because I hear, you know, people trying to stay alive on an island. I'm like, okay, yeah, I don't understand how that would be a thing for 40 seasons, but everything else you just said makes so much sense.
Yeah, and they've done such cool things as well. They had a couple of seasons called Blood versus Water. So there was contestants on one tribe and their loved ones on another tribe. And so people were playing with their parents, and people were playing with their husbands, and people were playing with their kids and their brothers and sisters. And it just added this whole other element to the game. This one contestant, Sierra, voted out her mum. And it was such an iconic moment. And they've done other seasons in terms of societal things, where they've put all women on one tribe and all men on another tribe. And they've done millennials versus Gen X. And they've done brain versus bronze versus beauty. And it's just, they've done so many things societally. And that's what makes it so good, because it's kind of like Big Brother, but on an island.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I feel honestly I don't know about you, but I tried to watch the season of Big Brother that started this year. And I don't know what it is. I remember loving Big Brother when we were younger, 2006, 7, 8. And now, I watched half an episode and I was like, there's nothing interesting about a bunch of people just sitting around in a house.
Totally. And that's why I think it's so much to do with casting and adding a twist to it, because it's if you just put 20 people on an island, it's not going to be entertaining. But if you cast 20 people with some sort of twist, or they have some sort of goal other than winning, so they have the challenges, or they have they can hunt for immunity idols and different rewards and things like this around the island. There's so many different layers to it, whereas I agree Big Brother really missed the mark this year. And
also, similarly to what you were saying about editing, I think there was a final 4 or something, and there was this one guy who's really, really annoying, and my friend who was avidly watching it kind of said to me, I don't understand why they're painting this guy who's clearly a dickhead, he's so annoying. They keep editing him in as one of the really good people. They're only showing parts of him that are making him look good, but it's still not quite working, because you can tell just with his interactions with other people that he's a dickhead. So she was like, I'm really worried that he's going to win, because why would they be editing it this way? And I don't think he was the guy that won, but I think he was in the final 4.
Right. That's the thing about the public voting to win that I don't agree with, because in Survivor, it's all about how you are to the other contestants, and whether you have played a good game to the other contestants who were actually there and saw all aspects of your personality, because the favorite a lot of the time doesn't win Survivor. In terms of the public's favorite doesn't win, because there's just so many elements that go into it, and people might get voted out but then have a lot of resentment towards the people who voted them out, and so go, okay, well, I'm just going to vote for this other person who I don't care that much about. They didn't play that great of a game, but I actually like them and I don't like you. And so, yeah, there's just so many levels to Survivor. That's why I love it so much.
I love that. That reminds me of The Circle. Did you watch that on Netflix?
No.
Okay, so it came out on New Year's Day of this year, the US season. So I've also seen the 2 UK seasons. And I recommend, if anyone else is wanting to watch it, I recommend starting with the UK seasons, especially the first one is so good. But you can watch the US season on Netflix right now, and it's basically people are put into a hotel building, and these individual people are put into one-bedroom apartments, and there's no internet, they can bring, I think, books in, so they have no like social media, and there's like TVs in every room where this like social network called The Circle pops up, and they're all communicating with each other, and they're not allowed to speak to anyone else on the outside world. And so they have this like communication. It's all about like who's the most popular basically by the end. And they all vote for each other, and it's all based on their relationships within it. And there's like games in each episode to like create some tension and drama.
Right.
And to get to know each other better. And like by the end of it, like I was crying. I was like so invested in like these real friendships that these people have made.
Yeah.
Like real beefs that happen, and like it's so good. But it's similar where the winner is decided based on what the players think. And then I think there's like an excess prize that the public favorite gets that people vote for, and they get like $10,000 or something. Also, the most important part of The Circle that I didn't mention, I do not know why I didn't, but I really want to convince everyone to watch it if you haven't already, is that the people can be whoever they want. So they can go in with like a fake set of pictures of someone else and pretend to be that person. So people will be like a different gender, different race, different size, different age, whatever it is, or like go in as that to do like little social experiments and stuff, or to prove that you can't be yourself online. Or people do the complete opposite and be like, I'm going to be 100% authentic and be myself, and I'm going to win that way because I want to prove that you can just be yourself and it'll work out that way. Anyway, just needed to say that. It's very important. You need to watch The Circle. So good. Also, watch Survivor. Let's keep going. I would recommend that if you haven't seen The Circle.
Yeah,
Very
I definitely
good.
should watch it.
It's really good.
For sure. I don't know if you know, well, you probably do know the artist Sia.
Mm-hmm.
So she loves Survivor.
I love that.
And a few years ago, she started giving money to her favourite. Like, it started on this first season because I'm pretty sure Sia is like an animal rights activist in some capacity. And there was a guy on Survivor called Ty, and he was on the Beauty Bronze Brain season. And he was on the beauty season because of his beauty in who he was as a person. He was like this little Asian man, and he just loved the earth. He was a gardener, and he had such a connection with plants and animals, and he expressed that quite a lot. And on Survivor, they often get chickens as a reward, and so they can either eat their eggs or they can kill the chickens and eat them. And when they got these chickens, Ty kind of like adopted one of them in a sense, and it became his friend, and he wouldn't let anyone kill it. And at the end of the season, at the reunion, that's when Sia decided to start giving away a prize each season, and she gave him $100,000 just because she loved who he was as a person, and she thought that he deserved it, and you know, could use the money for good. And
that's amazing.
I was like, Sia is a queen in so many ways, but the fact that she loves Survivor and she does that is like so cool to me. Like, I love it so much.
That's amazing. What a woman.
I know.
Oh, and she's an Aussie queen too.
Love that.
Blowing a kiss to you, Sia, wherever you are. Okay, I have a couple specific questions. Number one, would you ever go on Survivor?
I have 2 life goals. My first life goal is to be a full-time YouTuber.
Tick.
Done. My second life goal is to be on Survivor.
Okay.
And at the moment, this is going to sound so cheesy. So here's the thing. I have wanted to do Survivor for so long. And then when Australian Survivor got announced as a thing, I was so excited, but I knew that I wasn't ready to do it. And the thing is that Survivor's tagline is outwit, outlast, outplay. And so you've got outwit, which is like the social / strategy kind of side of the game. You've got Outlast, which means that you have the ability to survive the elements, and you have Outplay. And Outplay is the physical side of Survivor. If you go in and you're the weakest person, you are going to be immediately voted out, pretty much, unless you have extremely strong social skills. Like, the weakest player is typically voted out first, is always a target because of the fact that they're weak. And that's just something that you don't really want to go into Survivor doing. And I know that I would play Survivor amazingly in terms of strategy because I've watched it so much and I really know how I would play the game. And as well as that, I have pretty good social skills and the ability to get along with quite a lot of people. And I come across, I am a very genuine person. And so I think that would work in my favor going on Survivor. But the thing is that I'm not a super physically strong person. And so at the moment, I'm literally consciously working on my fitness because fitness isn't something that's always come naturally to me. Like, I don't love going for a run, for example. But it's something that I need to work on. The fact is that if I get cast on Survivor, I want to be the best version of myself when I go on Survivor. And so at the moment, I'm trying to stick to a pretty strict workout routine because I really want to increase my strength so that next year I can apply and know that if I get cast, which would be a real long shot to get cast, but I'm hoping for the best, that I am fully prepared to hopefully win.
Oh my God. That's amazing. I would absolutely be voted out in the first week on anything that requires strength. Like, I have no upper body strength whatsoever. But that's such a good plan, and you've got at least a year, like you said.
Yeah.
It's plenty of time.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. You'll definitely get on. Think about it. You have all the training. You're a fan of the show. You're a genuine person. Everything you said. Just a matter of time.
I really hope so. I really, really want to do it so badly. And I feel like it's so hard to get cast on these kind of shows. But I know that I really, really, really want to do it. And so I'm there's people, for example, on Survivor in the US who have applied so many times. Like Wendell, he won season 36. He applied for 10 years before he finally got cast. And that's the thing, sometimes the timing's just right and they need to fill a certain gap of what they want. And, something that they haven't really had much of on Australian Survivor is female players who are strategic. They have a lot of male players who are super fans of the show and who are very, very strategic, but it's very, very uncommon for them to have women who are like that. And so that's why I think that they should cast me, because I'm really feeling a little niche that they haven't covered quite a lot of yet.
And this is your official audition tape. Survivor.
Yeah. I don't submit an audition tape. I just send them this podcast episode. I'm like, here you go.
Yeah, go to this minute, this second, and here's all the reasons why I should be on your show. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. I have a couple more Survivor specific questions. And one is, if someone like myself isn't super into Survivor but would like to start watching, which season do you recommend beginning with? And then also, which season is your favorite and why?
Okay. The season that I think everyone should start with is season 20 of the US version, which is Heroes versus Villains.
Ooh.
And it's got 10 returning contestants who were villains and 10 returning contestants who were heroes. This is actually one of the first seasons that I ever properly watched live. And it is an incredible season, even though a lot of the cast members are all of the cast members are returning players. You don't need to know heaps about them to watch the season. And I think if anything, when you watch it and see your favorites, you know which seasons you want to go back to watch that they were on. So it's a really, really good season. There's so much strategy in it. There's just, because it's an all-star kind of season, the whole cast is incredible, which is just what I love so, so very much. And then my favorite season would have to be Fans versus Favorites 2.
Ooh.
Which I'm pretty sure off the top. Yeah, so they do like a season where they have 10 returning favorites, and then they have 10 super fans of the show, and they're on two separate tribes. And this season was a really, really good season because a lot of the cast I really, really loved so very much. And there's just a lot of great strategy, a lot of really iconic Survivor moves in this season. And I have watched it probably 10 times. And yeah, I pick up on something new every time. As well as that, I have to say an honorable mention to Survivor season 40. But if you're new to Survivor, do not watch season 40 yet, because Survivor season 40 is Winners at War. It's everyone who is, not everyone, it is 20 people who have won Survivor, and they all come back to compete for a $2 million prize. And that was the most recent season that came out, and it was so iconic because all of these people have won Survivor before. Like, they're all incredible at what they do. And yeah, it's just a super, super incredible season. I love it so much, but definitely one to wait to watch until you've seen who wins all the other seasons.
Okay, that's very good to know. Oh my God. I'm like I need to like write... I don't need to write this down. I can go back and when I'm editing this and write it down then. Okay, well, clearly we know what I'm going to be doing for the rest of this week, which is brushing up on Survivor. There's so many. I feel like every time I record one of these episodes with someone, I mean, not every single episode is about like a TV show or an artist or something someone likes in that way. But when it is, I just walk away with this like urge to be like, okay, well, I need to consume all of that content right now because this person has talked about it so like energetically and with so much excitement and fondness that I'm like, well, I'll probably love it too.
Yeah.
So
love that.
Yeah. Is there anything else before we end our Survivor discussion that you would like to tell people watching and or listening to this about the show?
I think the main thing is that I know it sounds really, really nerdy, especially the way I talk about Survivor. It feels like this like nerdy thing that like people are into, but it is just such an interesting game to observe the way that people interact with one another. And that's why I really encourage people to watch it, because as much as I love the gameplay and all of this kind of thing, it's so fascinating seeing people from different walks of life, and they've done a really good job with casting recently as well. And this show has just come a long way in terms of the way that it communicates with its contestants and the type of people that it puts on the show. In the most recent seasons, they've really opened up a discussion, and the producer and the host, Jeff Probst, has really opened up a discussion about, you know, the way that they've treated women on the show in the past, and about, you know, the internalized misogyny that has just sort of existed without a lot of the crew even realizing, and even the people watching realizing. Something as simple as the fact that they will call a lot of the male contestants by their last name, but they won't call the female contestants by their last name, and things like this. And the fact that it's always viewed as like, oh, so incredible, never been done before, amazing, when a female contestant finds a hidden immunity idol, but when a male contestant finds it, it feels very normal. And things like this have just been very, very interesting, and I've really appreciated the way that they have grown as a show and continued to acknowledge mistakes that they've made in the past and work towards being better. And in a recent season, they actually had a contestant who got removed from the show because of like sexual harassment. And it was an incredibly hard thing to watch, but they executed it very well. And I think that that's one of the most powerful things about reality TV, is it is real people sharing their real human experiences, and you get a greater understanding of why people feel the way that they feel, and the way that they handled that situation, and the way that they have handled contestants in the past who they've cast thinking were good people but have ended up doing some really stupid things on TV. The way that the host and just the production have handled it has been really, really great to see, because I think a lot of the time it does get quite brushed over in the media, things like that happen on TV. I mean, do you remember when like that turkey slapping incident happened on Big Brother?
I was just about to say that. I remember that vividly, especially because the girl's name was Ashley, and I was like, me?
Yeah, right? And it's like, that was something that I feel like at the time, none of us even really understood why it was wrong. Like, I know that we would have been a lot younger, but in the media, it was really brushed over, and it was like, oh, they got kicked off over that sort of thing. Whereas now that doesn't fly. And I think it's really good to see a TV show that's been going for so long acknowledge the fact that, they have made mistakes in the past and have made mistakes with their casting in the past and work towards being better in the future, which is really, really cool. So yeah, my point is Survivor is more than just like a strategic kind of show. It's really interesting to see people living their lives, and I feel like there's something in Survivor for everyone, and that's why it's something that has kept me hooked through so many different stages of my life, because it has had different things for me at each stage of my life as well.
Oh, beautiful. I love that. It's like the opposite. It sounds like they're handling things really well. That's like the opposite of The Bachelor and what that show Unreal is like highlighting. And funnily enough, there've been storylines on Unreal that they've written, and it's fictional, that then like 6 months later have happened in real life on The Bachelor. And The Bachelor tried to sue the people who made Unreal.
Really?
For like saying it was, based off real events or whatever. And they were like, we have proof. We wrote this before that happened.
Wow. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really interesting with things like that. The fact that, I think the representation on reality TV in terms of gender, sexuality and race and disability there's no inclusivity whatsoever in terms of it shows a very, very whitewashed materialistic standard of beauty, and that's pretty much it. And it's been something that I have really noticed, especially I think with watching Australian reality TV, because I think we have quite a way to go. But something that, again, I've loved about Survivor is that they have had people of different races, genders. They've had people with disabilities on the show. They don't allow these things to stop them from being cast, which is something that I really, really appreciate. There's actually a really, really interesting season of Survivor, an episode of Survivor, where there was a man and he went on Survivor. His name's Zeke. If there's any Survivor fans listening to this, they'll know what I'm talking about. But
or if Zeke's listening, this is for you.
Yeah. He did his first season of Survivor. He didn't win. And then he went on a second season of Survivor, which is where like a lot of favorites got cast. And in one of the tribal councils, one of the other contestants outed him for being transgender. And
what?
it was so, I remember watching that episode and just being like, what in the world is happening right now? And keeping in mind, the man who outed him as transgender is gay and a member of the LGBTQ plus community. And he still outed him on national television. And Zeke ended up telling Survivor that he wanted them to air it. They gave him the option of we can not air this if you don't want people to know, but we can if you do want people to know. And it was completely up to him, and he decided that he wanted it aired because he wanted to show the way that transgender people get treated, because the man who outed him was trying to say that he was deceitful. And it was this moment when you were watching reality TV where it's like you watch reality TV and these people know they're creating a TV show. And in that moment, it was like, this isn't a TV show anymore. Like, this is real life. And it literally, they didn't even vote. The guy who outed him just got kicked off the show. They didn't even, it was. That's amazing. That's the thing that I think I mean, that's the standard that should be expected regardless. On TV in any capacity, people who treat others that way shouldn't be allowed to continue being on reality television. And, reality television should be a safe space for anyone to go on, And I think that's what I've really appreciated about Survivor, is the way that they've really shown things like that and done a really good job at making it educational rather than just entertaining.
Oh my God. I'm so glad I asked that question because it got that answer out. Oh my God, that was great. Okay, well, thank you so much for making me now really, really want to watch Survivor, and then also for having this wonderful chat. It was so lovely to speak to you.
Yeah, you too.
And to hear, about something that you care about. That's always fun in any capacity. And before you go, where can everyone find you? And is there anything you'd like to plug?
Well, you can find me on YouTube or on Instagram at Amanda Ducks. If you're interested in vegan food, lifestyle, travel kind of content, that's what I make there. And if you're interested in listening to a podcast where I talk about a lot of personal things with my best friend, you can find us at To Be Honest Podcast is our podcast name, which is another venture. And also, I'm going to create a Survivor Twitter account, which is, again, a nerdy thing for me to do, but I don't really have a lot of friends in real life who love Survivor the way that I do. So I've actually recently decided I want to just have a space to be able to just tweet and talk about things that I like. So I'll get back to you on the Survivor Twitter handle thing. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
If it doesn't exist by the time that I post this, I will update it as soon as that's available in the description. If you're on YouTube, once again, if you're listening to this, thank you so much. But the information will be on the YouTube description. And the podcast is so good. I haven't listened to the second episode yet. I've been catching up on this podcast, which I think you would love, called Just Break Up. It's like a relationship. It's not just relationships, like romantic relationships. They talk about all kinds of relationships, but it's all about like personal growth and these two people who just have really open hearts, who really, really love everyone that writes in, have these really universal questions, but it's a lot of the stuff that people probably aren't willing to say out loud.
Right.
So I recommend that to everyone. It's a really good podcast. But also your podcast, the reason I haven't listened to the episode that came out yesterday is because I have been binging this one because I want to finish it so badly. It's so good. But the first episode, oh my God. I think I messaged you and I messaged Cara as well, being like, I related so hard to everything that you guys are saying. And everyone that's listening to and watching this, please go listen to that right after this because it's so good. And especially if you're a girl, I think you'll relate to so much of it.
Yeah, totally. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. So, as always, if you're consuming this, thank you so much. You can find me on all social media at Ashley Crapapp. And if you're listening, the YouTube channel, I think you just search my name, Ashley Appap or Ashley Crapapp. And hopefully by now, once I've posted this, the sketches that I've been making will be up on my YouTube channel as well, so go watch them. And I hope wherever you are, you're having a great day. Amanda, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, anytime. And I hope wherever you are, everyone's having a great day. I'm going to take a big sip of my smoothie here. I've got my little tablets sticker because it reminds me to take my vitamins every day. So I'm going to take a big sip.
Love that.
Big gulp. All right. Stay hydrated, everyone. Love you lots. Bye.
Bye.